Welcome to the Virtual Career Fair, hosted by the Sustainable Community Aid Network, featuring an interview with the owner of DXcuts, Doxa Ikiriko. Thank you very, very much for joining me here today. I'm so happy to have you on here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Could you start off by introducing yourself and just speaking about your passion in general?
So I'm Doxa Ikiriko, Nigerian born, grew up in England and found my way here. My passion really is to make people happy. So right now I cut hair, so I'm a barber and also like a clothing advisor. I work at Harry Rosen as well, but my main passion is cutting hair right now. It didn't really start off as a business or anything that I wanted to do for other people. It was mainly just something that I learned to do myself. So I started cutting my hair about 10 years ago, probably when I was quite young. So my dad used to cut my hair, and then he suggested you need to learn on your own. So I pretty much taught myself how to cut my own hair. And then it was only when I came to Canada, so that was roughly 5 years ago, where I decided to cut other people's hair and like start earning some sort of money from it. So after that, after a few like friends and other people started coming to me asking to get their hair cut, I started to see it as like a way for me to learn about business, right, without having to actually go to business school. So I did think about doing business as a course, but then I just thought most of what I'm learning, because I did a few classes, but most of what I'm learning, I can just almost teach myself. It's almost just like life, right? So you just learn as you go. So right now I'm still learning like the business aspect of it, and I'm learning how to make things better. That's where I'm at in like the position of my business right now. That's where I'm at. I'm just learning how to make things better and how to pretty much just grow from here and actually make it into a fully fledged business and just, paving my path as well.
The idea for your business, DXcuts, just came about because you just started cutting other people's hair and you just thought, okay, I want to turn this into a business. I want to know the business aspect of it.
Pretty much. So essentially it started, the actual business side of it started like when I was a few months in, almost a year in actually. So I was literally just cutting people's hair and they'll just pay me. That was literally it at the beginning. And then I realized that I would rather make it have a bit more control over what I'm doing. So have a bit more consciousness of what I'm doing rather than just, someone calls me, I cut their hair. So I just thought I would actually like to see how this works, as a business. So that's probably how I'd say it started, like DXcuts came about. Because like the whole convenience side of it only works when me, myself as the provider of the service, I'm a little bit more organized, right? So making it organized and also trying to, get a bigger reach as well. That's where you then have to apply all the business aspects to it. Other than that, it's just a side hobby that I do or did. Now it's like an actual passion project.
That's really cool. So I'm guessing you don't necessarily have like a day-to-day specifically. It's just as clients book, you just go. So how does that look like? How does a day where your services are booked looks like?
Right now, so since I work full time, so essentially clients book ahead of time. You have to book at least a day before. If you're booking on the day, then obviously the prices go up because that's kind of taking my time. Because I try my best to organize my time at least a week ahead. So I know what's coming up and I know, because I still have other projects that I'm working on outside of my job and also outside of DXcuts. So there's a lot of like value that I place on my time. So if someone is to want a haircut and it's late notice, then I kind of just equivalent to money pretty much because, time is money, right? So a day-to-day will probably, let's say, most of my off days is when I cut hair. So a regular day when I'm cutting hair. It would be more so, right now I have my slots between 12 and 6. So I do that because it's mainly for myself, because I can cut all day. It's just mainly for myself to have some sort of routine, right? And also to kind of set boundaries as well between myself and my clients. So it's between 12 and 6, you have that time to book, you know, is to keep myself accountable and also others to respect my time as well, right? So that's between 12 and 6 on off day is when I cut hair. Most days that I'm off, I'll probably get around 2 on average, 2 haircuts per day, sometimes a little bit more. I might be like fully booked that whole day, depending on how many people have, remember to book ahead. Sometimes I do get calls on the day, but I still explain to them, because I kind of try to keep to my to either my schedule or the processes that I put in place. So I've said, if it's a same day appointment, this is what follows, whether or not we're friends or we've known each other for a while. So it's bringing that professionalism into it as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, a normal day will probably look like I'll wake up, go gym, then eat. Right now, I'm also studying for real estate as well. So I'll just do a little bit of studying or some editing, and then I'll start my day at 12. Depending on the first haircut, I'll go cut hair, and then in the evenings, then I can have the cool down, or I'll just go back to my studying or editing, really. And then on a day when I'm working, I do get, so I do have a few clients that I do cut at any time, just because of, proximity and also our relationship as well. So some of my clients that were here right at the beginning, they don't have the same services as those that are coming in now or as of recent. So they get a little bit more exclusivity, just because I value the value that they put in me at the beginning, right? So a lot of those, they do just call me or text me, can you come after work? And then I can, either come late at night or right after work, depending on when my shift ends. But yeah, it is pretty busy. It is pretty busy, but I just see it as, it's a lot of learning that I'm doing. And also it's just a test for myself and a challenge to myself, to try and just, work, just always just be in that, that mood of working. And especially when I don't consider my job as my full-time job, I kind of consider it like a side. I consider that as the side. Everything else in my life is the main thing, because as the pandemic showed, your job can go at any time. So I'm trying to just get in the habit of, challenges, and the habit of working for myself, pretty much.
Wow. So yeah, you've spoken a lot about just like kind of having that balance with your time, with professionalism, with your customers, which is really important, like if you're trying to learn like the business side of things. So that's really good. So what would you say are some of the challenges that you faced, particularly at the beginning of transitioning this from like a hobby more to like a side business?
The first and foremost, probably most important, and can't really avoid it, is money. So a lot of the money I was getting was from obviously cutting hair. Then I just reinvest. So it's getting that mentality of, the money you make from your business is your business's money, not yours. That's one thing that you have to kind of switch. That's a personal thing, right? You have to switch your mentality from just any money I earn is mine kind of thing, and just treat your business as a separate entity to yourself. That's one challenge I had to get over. So at the time, it wasn't too hard, just because I saw the business as myself. So it was just like me using the money to buy more equipment. It didn't feel like it was something completely different, because I wanted to do it, right? So yeah, so getting most like upgrading my clippers, upgrading my services, lighting, all of that, because it's not just, I'm not going to a barber shop, so I don't just get to carry my clippers. It's like I have to get a nice box, that looks presentable. I have to get a ring light. I have to get some headlights as well, just in case, some people's houses differ. lighting differs as well. So I have to make sure that they still get the same quality and service wherever I go. That was one challenge. I'll probably say another one was getting some sort of schedule or booking system. So at first I started with an app called Set More. And then over time, I thought I'd rather have my own website. So I got on, I think it was Wix. Yes, I think it's an app or something like that. So I got on Wix, I created my own website. Luckily, the pandemic came around, so that gave me a lot of time to actually work on my website. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise. So yeah, I worked on my website, made it so it's easy to use, so it's user-friendly, right? And I tried my best because when I decided to turn this into a business, it's also, I'm not just a business, I'm a Black business, Black-owned business. That's how people view me. But I have to provide some sort of quality. No matter how small I am, I have to provide high quality and also make it easier, because it's not as straightforward. So I was trying to make sure that from a consumer's point of view, everything is pretty simple and straightforward. And I know this through working customer service in different aspects of life, that consumers' view of things is so far different to whoever's producing. So it's all about, convenience. It's all about ease of access to different things. So making sure the website is simple, straightforward, and, things are working, right? So that's one thing I like about Wix, is because I don't really have to do too much in terms of troubleshooting and stuff like that. They sort that out. I just do all the designs and, bring the content pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely heard of Wix myself, and I think I've used it for a couple of websites too. So yeah, it's definitely user-friendly for sure. So
yeah.
Would you ever think of making this, because you were saying you just take your equipment, has to look good, take it to people's homes. Would you ever think of making this like a physical space for your
There's definitely ideas that I've played with in terms of just on paper. There's a company in England right now, what they call Trim It. So that looks like a pretty nice business idea in terms of, so the barbershop is in a van pretty much. So it's just a mobile barbershop. So that's an idea I've been playing with. There's that. I mean, that would probably be my favorite idea that I've seen. I have thought about a shop as well. But if I was to get a shop, I really want to make it a little bit different. Either make it mix it with something else in the beauty industry. So it's either massages, or it would be more so self-care along with hairdressing. Just give it a different vibe and a different tone. That would be probably the next step. But that, I feel, is a bigger step that I want to take. As in, when I do open up shops, I want it to be a lot bigger than just starting off as a small shop. I want that to be kind of my end goal, because there's a lot that comes with that in my head. I've written all my visions down, and I feel like that is probably the biggest, the last step that I do want to get to, because then I can apply everything that I've learned on my way there to that idea. But yeah, I've played with a few ideas, and I think the mobile barbershop, it kind of works with what I'm doing right now better than having my own shop.
Okay, that sounds really amazing and fun, and
yeah,
go with the best in that. I think it's very innovative. So yeah. Okay, so what do you enjoy the most about just owning your own business?
It's the people. To be very honest, it's the people. What I like about having my own business is obviously having control of my time, but it's also the effect that I personally have on people. So, my business, I'm the face of my business, right? And I see that, I compare and I look up to different businesses and see there's some business where the owner's not the face. There's somewhere the owner is the face. But in terms of mine, being the face of it, I get to see that I have an effect on people. So, relating it to cutting hair, I know that because of the quality I've brought to someone, they're happy. They're happy to tell someone else about myself, or they're happy that I provided the service. They're happy to see me, So I think that's the main thing that I enjoy, is just people, and also being in control of my time.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good one, especially with your work is on someone else's body, literally. So of course, it's important to have like those connections with people and everything. So that's good. Okay, and my next question would be, what are the qualities that you would say brought you to the point that you're in today?
There's a lot to do with my culture. So being Nigerian, there's a lot of hustle involved in the culture. My parents, they're pretty much like the driving force behind everything I do, right? So just seeing all the achievements they've had themselves, and now as you're growing up, you have different kind of conversations where it's more like, whatever you're doing, make sure you do it to your best abilities, right? And now it's obviously I'm at a point in life where I'm trying to find what I want to do, and this so happens to be a skill that I stumbled upon. So, over time now I'm thinking, I need to consciously find skills that I want, rather than just hoping for the best. So consciously finding different skills that I can use to then elevate myself. But I think, it's definitely my culture and my parents that, drive me to do better every day and find different ways to be, innovative as well as just successful in some way, some facet or form.
Yeah, haven't being Nigerian myself, I definitely get what you mean about like the culture and everything. Yeah, definitely. That's really good that your parents are like your motivating force and factor. That's really admirable. Okay, finally, what piece of advice would you give to youth that are also looking to be entrepreneurs in the hair and beauty industry?
I'll probably, it's just always be open to learn. That's really it. Like, even with, so you find your environment, you understand your environment, and within that environment, make it conducive for your learning. So an example would be my environment is I'm part of the youth. I use social media. I interact with people. A lot of the people that I interact with, it's either like, some of them are barbers, some of them are hairdressers. On my social media, I follow a lot of my hairdressing accounts. I follow a lot of barbers. So at least I know every day at some point I'm going to either see, someone cutting hair. So I'm learning just watching that. I'm either going to meet one of my friends that, is a hairdresser. We have conversations around that. Another thing is just be observant, really. Be very observant of those around you. Like, no one's better than each other. No matter how far someone might seem, put yourself next to them and also just watch what they do. Even if it's someone that's not as good as you, you still watch what they do, because they might do something different that you might apply to yourself, which is very, very important, right? That humility to watch someone either below you or next to you is very important, because you need to be able to see these things. And also just watch, like in being observant, is look around you as well. Like every day at this point where I'm cutting hair quite frequently and I see a lot of different things, is now in person when I meet or when I see people, I look at their hair. That's the first thing that I see now. And I'm analyzing the fade, or is it like, what's gone wrong here? Does it actually look good? If it looks good, you start to see different things in whatever that person's hair looks like, and you think, how can I reproduce that? That's how my mind works now. I'm just always observant. I'm always watching and trying to see am I this good? And that comparison and competitiveness is not a bad thing. You just need to apply it in the right way. If you feel like, if you look at someone and they come with a fresh cut and you're like, wow, and then you look at your work and you're like, it's not that good, you don't feel bad. You just think, okay, cool, I need to make my haircuts look like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much like the advice I'll give. To break it down is pretty much just be observant, don't be afraid to learn, and just humility in everything you do. And also practice. So it's perfect practice, yeah. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you so much once again for just giving all these amazing insights, and I wish you all the best in your journey. Thank you.
Thank you.